is definitely a huge advantage. But we are in with our first attack, and it's going to be Team ELEKTROS going in. Diego setting things up here for that Spirit Charge. Does have the one recall and the one overgrowth spell in there. He's going to look to push this Royal Champion right up over here and set up the pathing for these Root Riders.
Yeah, and something what you're trying to do currently as base builders mostly is manipulate the pathing of that Royal Champion, because we have already by now seen it is like 99% of those attacks being Royal Champion charges, which means as base builder you have a pretty solid idea of what exactly is going to be played on your bases, so you can use Tesla especially to lure the Royal Champion in the different pathing or a different direction to make the attacker invest more spells than intended. And little things like this, spring trapping away ice golems early on, such things are always so good if that can happen, because this means always less power for the attacker.
Look at that troop launcher launching those troops in. That's our newest siege machine in Clash of Clans, and I like that one quite a bit. It drops in some wall breakers, some giants, some barbarians, and archers, and it can just add a little bit of extra support in the middle of the base, open up some of those walls, which generally isn't an issue for a Root Rider attack, but getting those giants out in front and tanking a little bit extra is definitely really nice. As Diego's making his way to the Town Hall now, it is a little bit low on spell support. It has one more freeze after deploying the skeleton spell near the monolith. This is looking pretty good. That overgrowth is still holding off the defenses. He's still got a lot of force up here and a lot of hero abilities. Diego has a chance on General X's base right now.
Yeah, and you can see as well why pros are using this Snake Bracelet, or as well the new Siege as you just mentioned. Those smaller troops, the spawn giants from the Siege for example, or the snakes from the equipment, are such great tanks versus those way more heavy hitting defenses like the Monolith, like those merged cannons, which we don't have in the regular game. This is why those type of siege machines or equipments are working so great in the hard mode and getting used so much from the pros, even though you might not see it as much. But take a look at this. He can swag 2 hero abilities versus this base. And the defense Galax was talking about at the beginning, he's going to be the first attacker, and he is going in with this same approach, the Royal Champion Charge and the Root Riders for this attack. He's right now going for the Town Hall though, which is not the most common approach, but that's why he's bringing the Haste Vial with that Royal Champion to make sure that that Town Hall is going down really quickly. And so far this opening is looking flawless, getting all of the value, recalling, perfect timing, the Giga Bomb is gone.
That is beautiful. Remember, the Giga Bomb is now on the outside, so you know exactly where it is, and he used that recall to perfection, getting that Royal Champion out of there before she takes that Giga Bomb's damage, and now she can be deployed later. You see the King over there with the Siege Barracks, those 2 P.E.K.K.A.s, and everything is in, and there comes that Royal Champion redeployed behind all of the Root Riders, working through this left side of the base. A great setup here for Philip.
Yeah, but the Queen backtracked, and I feel like that was not supposed to happen. She was supposed to support that King on the outside. And the question now is that going to be a problem moving forward? The Warden ability is going to be used right now as the Rage is getting deployed as well. And the Archer Queen right now, oh no, she's doing the Archer Queen thing. She's on a wall.
Yeah, the King's kind of got her attention over there. There's no headhunters to help her out, so she's going to be just stuck over there. Overgrowth does come in, which will slow down some of these defenses on the back end of this base, but it's still, we have that merged multi-defense protected by the Minion Prince. That's a lot of damage output, and it looks like pretty much all the roots are gone. They see the Royal Champion in there, but she's going to be looking to take some damage as the scatter shot's starting to target her way. Actually, it's over on the Apprentice Warden, not onto the Royal Champion, but she's still taking a lot of damage. Queen's up top. He can converge here, but without a lot of spell support, I don't think this one crosses the line.
No, I don't think that's going to be enough, but we have talked about earlier how important those percentage points can be in those matches, and every single building which he can take down right now is a game changer moving forward. Right now it seems like to be finishing on the 80% mark. We have quite a few buildings being low, but not low enough to be taken care of the last couple of troops, and that means a 2-star 80% is going to be the finishing touch on this one. Or is there any? No, the Archer is there, so another building going down, and the Gold Star is going down as well.
Yeah, he's got a couple down there. He's got plenty of time, so you can definitely rack up a few percentage points. And like you mentioned, every percentage point matters here, as it's going to go from an 80 to an 82 as the Minion Prince will take out that Wizard. But Synchronic do find themselves trailing against Team ELEKTROS.
intense. And I feel like this second attack for Team ELEKTROS is really important because it's really setting up the tone on how much pressure there is on the Synchronic side.
And it's the man himself, Rigo Torres. I love the $100,000 check on the wall right there. I believe that was what, 2019 Worlds, where he earned that with Team Queso. A very seasoned veteran here, and this world champion is charging in, going right for that monolith. He should be able to pull out the clan castle troops as well, just little by little. There goes that haste valve, speeding up her attack, speeding up her movement, and getting her even further in there. Wow, what a nice spirit charge here for Rigo Torres. Also tornado triggered by the Spirit Fox.
That looks awesome. Really great start, taking down a huge part of this base early on. And the clan castle's loaded as well. He invested the... Is it the poison? It seems to, yeah, he invested the poison
right there, yeah,
for the furnace to make sure that that is going to be taken care of and there is no more fire mites. Now the Valkyrie have really tanked the remaining couple of furnaces with the Bidrake to take down the ice golems. But Bash, all of this is a lot of time investment. So let's hope for the best that time is not going to be an issue.
Yeah, usually not with the roots, but you're right, Itsu. It could be. There's a lot of base remaining here and under 2 minutes on this attack. And in the hard mode, things are definitely a little bit more difficult. We see those snakes spawning from that Barbarian King. The snake bracelet, definitely one of the favorites of the pros for those exact reasons you were mentioning earlier. Itsu, being able to tank some of those heavier defense, especially like the Ricochet Cannon. If you can just bounce off 2 snakes rather than bouncing off the King or the P.E.K.K.A.s, that is massive. But he's making his way to the middle, still has the overgrowth for the back end of the base, as the Warden ability is going to protect all these roots, and the Town Hall takedown should be secured.
That timing was amazing of the Warden ability, tanking everything and keeping as well this one Loon alive, which survived until now, taking I think like 2 or 3 Blackmans in the core, 1 Blackman on the back end, keeping those healers safe. Another interesting choice of Rigo Torres is that he's running the Diggy and not the Sneezy on the Warden. So really saying, hey, I prefer the safety of Diggy, which is like super consistent. It always will get value, and especially with the healing tome survives for so long. While the Sneezy feels like it's more coin flip. Like if you don't get the troops to trigger the red mines, it is not as great overall. But the back end and time Bash, this is going to be close.
Yeah, that's definitely an issue. 30 seconds, less than 30 seconds now, with 20% of the base remaining. He still has a strong force here. He's got 3 Yetis up top. The Queen is starting to fade here. He does have the Clone Queen in there, but I don't know if he even has enough gas in the tank to cross the finish line here, as Rigo Torres does have a strong strike. It's going to be in the 80 or 90% here. Hopefully in the 90%. He's got enough to get there, but the time is running out on him. It's going to fall just short at 89%.
To do exactly that, and we have the same approach again. This time around though, again back to Sneezy on the Warden. I have to say, I like Diggy quite a lot on the attack of Rigo Torres, so let's find out if this choice of Sneezy is going to have any impact on the attack.
Has the haste vial with the Electro Boots for the RC to take down the Town Hall. An interesting play here. We usually aren't seeing a lot of teams going for the Town Hall with that Royal Champion charge, but it seems to be the play for Synchronic here, as they've done it in back-to-back attacks, and all 4 of our attacks so far have been Root Rider attacks with that Spirit charge. So definitely an interesting play here. Does have the recall spell in here, so he can pull her out at any time. Does not trigger the Giga Bomb, so it's still there, but also that area of the base is definitely thinned out. He's going to go ahead and use a Valkyrie to pull over those Clan Castle troops and try to get them up, but that Furnace is deploying those Fire Spirits. Now he's got it poisoned, so it should go down really, really soon.
Yeah, it's always a bit weird of like the Furnace hiding behind the Clan Castle, because it's just like staying there and spawning everything. But yeah, like if you're wondering as well what type of Clan Castle you should maybe run in your own clan wars, or for example in Legend, add like 1 Furnace to the mix. This troop is incredible on defense. It is really, really powerful and can be a big problem, like especially if a Furnace is spawning Fire Mud on your healers. Oh, you have a really big problem on your hands. But on this one, everything was taken care of properly, and now it's all about the big push. My troops are splitting Bash.
Yeah, a little bit of a split. Those heroes on the outside. That troop launcher is throwing those troops into the middle. They need some support into the middle to get to that monolith and that merge multi-defense in there. Royal Champion's in there. There goes the overgrowth spell. He uses the invis to protect the Royal Champion. Monolith is going to go down, and that's one of the big threats on the base. That merge multi-defense is so powerful, but those Giants do a great job tanking. Leo's doing a good job managing everything at the same time. He's got the king there. He's still got the queen with ability as well, and he's got to make the turn and go around this base. But Itsu, that merge multi-defense still stands up, and it is just powering away on these troops.
Oh, I sometimes would love to see how much damage specific buildings have dealt, because this thing, take a look at how quick the queen is going down. That is just crazy. And with that, the king is trying his best. He has quite a few of those hero abilities left, but I'm just not sure if that is going to be enough. I mean, the king is now running on the outside again. The queen still has her ability, but with 35 seconds left, this is going to be a tall task. The king running around the outside, the queen going for the next building, going for the next wall, hopefully joining with the giant and taking down some more buildings, but 3 stars are out of reach.
Spiky ball should cut the king inside, but you're right, with only 20 seconds, that giant is a beautiful new equipment. It adds the hit points of, well, at that level, not quite 2 full golems, but it is a big add to have that late charge in there, to have that giant out in front of your heroes. But this one's going to fall short as well, as he's going to try to get 90%, and he does. 90%.
18,500. So, like, that's a big difference right there with only 6 level of the equipment. So really those last couple of level of that equipment are giving you so many more hit points. So it's kind of crazy. But moving back to the next attack, moving back to the next Royal Champion charge, that invest was a bit mistimed.
Yeah, he missed just a little bit, but he did quickly get a second one in to cover that Royal Champion. Now she's caught in the tornado, but she has range on the Fire Spitter, so she's going to be good there. She'll be caught for just a second, and he's going to go ahead and recall her. Loop needs to get this one back on track, but honestly, even though that was a little bit off the rails there, I feel like he did a great job still setting up the pathing here for the Root Riders. Both of these squads leaning heavily on that ground force of those Root Riders, and here comes another Snake Bracelet with that king, getting those snakes spawning. That king can put out almost unlimited amounts of snakes as long as he stays healthy, but we haven't really seen him paired with the Vamp Stash. We're seeing him with like spiky balls and stuff like that. Me personally, I love that Vamp Stash in there so you can just get snakes nonstop. Log launcher in, and Loop is underway.
Oh, that log launcher taking all of those archers out. I just love it when those logs are rolling through and dealing so much damage. It's just amazing to watch. As we have now the Root Riders joining up the queen at the top side. The queen so far pushing really nicely into this middle part of the base. Ability so far not used. She has to be used right now. There we go, staying alive, and the giant is joining the team.
And it's becoming a real meta equipment here for these pros, and with the caps, I mean, it definitely makes sense along with those heavy hitting defenses deal 20% more damage just initially, and that's not even taking into account that the heroes that he's using are 10% less effective. So the hard mode makes things a lot more difficult, but Loop is looking really strong here. He's got pretty much all the Root Riders up top still being healed, but he did lose his queen over there. World Champion's still in here, doesn't have any more spells, doesn't have any more hero abilities, but he looks to get through the back end of this base. That should have no problem getting up to 80%, but it is definitely starting to fade with the heroes going down.
Yeah, the heroes, even though they're weaker, they're still such a big part of your army. Root Riders so far, though, are pushing through. He has a lot of time still left. But now the question is, can the merged gear tower somehow stop this? It starts shooting right now, and let's see how quick those Root Riders are going to disappear. The first one is gone. Second one is under fire, and it's half hit points. And it is gone. The barbs and bugs, they have to take.
Bottom. They're cleaning, they're going. Warden needs to get through here. He's got one more. Itsu, this could be a 3-star. Loop looking to push that lead for Team ELEKTROS. He's got to get through that hero hall. The hero hall has so many hit points, but the Warden's going to come over and assist. There's the fist pump, and Loop gets the job done. It's another triple for Team ELEKTROS. To what hard mode is, and General X, the MVP from the World Championship, is coming in. He's got 3 clones here. He's got a couple of invisibilities. Do we see maybe a super minion bomb or something here? What do you think this is, Itsu? Maybe Yetis?
Yeah, I'm just trying to think about it. I mean, we possibly... Okay, there goes the giant arrow. Hitting one of the sweepers. He's going to blimp the town hall, but the clone value around it is not that crazy. Maybe, as you said, a super minion, but with the super minion blimp, don't you try to have more invisibilities? Either way, the blimp... Oh way!
Oh,
He's
he
missing
missed
the
it.
blimp.
Oh no, it's Yetis. Oh no, this could be catastrophic. He's got to try to clone them over. With 3 clones, he does. He gets them over to that town hall compartment, so it's not the end of the world. It is the one nice thing about having that 3 clones in there. He can just use that utility. But oh no, the Yeti mites are falling. It's not enough. The town hall remains at 2.
Do we have history repeat? No match without a 1-star. This is crazy so far in this competition we see right here. He is not happy with this attack so far whatsoever. The Royal Champion already deployed as well, which means she cannot be used as redeployment, like as reinforcement for the Town Hall. And he's just, I don't know, I want to say he has to hope for the best, but at this point, I don't know what he has to hope for because that Town Hall is out of reach.
And look at everything surrounding that town hall area. He's got the ricochet cannons, he's got expos, he's got the town hall itself, not to mention a scatter shot and defending heroes. It's going to be near impossible. He does have 2 invises. If he can time this right and use the RC ability, oh, but he misses the first of it. Nothing is going right for General X right here.
Yeah, this is not looking good, and what a crazy surprise here with this matchup. I think pretty much everyone expected here that SYNCRONIC would get this victory, but I mean, Team ELEKTROS just super impressive showing on offense, and as well like we see here on defense, even though in the end, the blimp not being inside that warden ability was just super crucial.
Yeah, but if he gets that blimp to the town hall and he clones up and gets those Yeti mites just raged up and taking out some of those defenses, this could have been a whole different story, but missing that blimp is so difficult. You can see the frustration in his face when he missed that blimp. Just a split second late there. It is going to be okay on percentage, but at this point, it might be too late for SYNCRONIC to have a chance.
Hard to overcome. I mean, that's just making it, I don't know, like, it's nearly impossible. Let's put it that way. But Amulin is in, and we have the Super Witches. Let's see what he can make with this one because he's not playing the Fireball.
What was interesting was General X's was the first attack that wasn't Root Riders, and we saw a catastrophic failure. Albolin, the first attack not being Root Riders for Team ELEKTROS. Let's see if he can go ahead and get a 2-star on the board. Root Riders, not Root Riders, excuse me, I'm sorry, Super Witches, a little bit safer. As long as you do the mechanics of a Super Witch attack, usually you could push them right through the Town Hall. It's usually the back end of the base and time that becomes a factor with this type of attack. Here comes the Archer Queen in just to collapse the funnel in here. He's letting that Warden work. Great rage on that Warden because he can take in a lot of damage. He's just going to send everything right up through the middle towards the Town Hall now.
Yeah, and what I'm scared about is just the back end. Because if you're going through the Town Hall and you have a setup like this with the Fire Spitters, they are overlapping in the core. And this means you have both Fire Spitters start firing as soon as the troops are reaching the Town Hall. And that is just a scary moment. This is just where you typically go in the back of one of the Fire Spitters and just accept that you have to go into one of them at least. But like this, you will see in just a second that both of them start firing, and that will be a lot of damage then.
He does have an overgrowth he can use. The Flame Flinger popped open over there. There goes the King's Spiky Ball and Earthquake Boots, and the overgrowth goes on those Fire Spitters. So he's gonna negate some of that damage, at least for a little while. 2 stars on the board, and honestly, at this point, that's all ELEKTROS needs for their last 2 attacks, is a couple of 2-star attacks to win this war. So Almalen has that task already completed, but he's gonna look to push this forward and go towards that 3-star. World Champion's working on her own on the right side, which can be a little bit of a sketchy proposition, but she's well protected in there with the Spirit Fox and that invisibility, and everything's pushing further in. He's got a chance here, Itsu.
Yeah, he's looking strong. The Royal Champion going down, though, unfortunately. But still, with 50 seconds to go, this has the chance of still 3-starring. Yes, what is it, like 2 Super Witches still left alive? He has the Warden alive, which is on the back end. Such a big game changer, because he has the Rage gem on him, and this means he has more power through the entire back end, and he really needs that with only roughly 30 seconds left in this attack.
That Wizard over there on the left side getting that storage out could be really huge. He does have the Queen in there as well with a couple big boys bouncing around here. He's got to get through the Teslas 20 seconds. Even if he doesn't triple here, though, it's not the end of the world for Team ELEKTROS, but it's looking like it has a chance. At just 15 seconds, they got to go faster, and the Witches are taking the long way. I think it's going to run out of time here as Albolin has pretty much everything he needs. It's just not enough time on the clock. Is 4 seconds, 3 seconds, 2 seconds, and the time fail one building it to. Oh no.
What I was expecting, but Synchronic is up next, and at this point, I mean, they need a wonder and a half, but at this stage, they just need to make sure that maybe they're getting some confident points, because as we have already explained, there is, and all of those teams are having to play another match later on today, so the momentum is something you should not underestimate for those teams.
Yeah, it's you and I are both big momentum guys, so I agree with that. You want to build that momentum going into that next round. You don't want to take an early exit here. We've seen that happen from some of the most high-profile teams in the biggest tournaments. So anytime you can avoid that, you definitely want to. But ultimately, it will come down to that next matchup as Einstein's looking to get on the board here with the 3-star. Did a great job setting this up with that early fireball. He's got 10 rocket balloons remaining. Still has the heroes, the king and queen, yet to be deployed along with that royal champion. And here comes the battle blimp to take down that town hall. Should also pull up the rest of the clan castle troops. I see a furnace out there. Headhunter's going to come over and distract that warden for just a second, but the town hall is now secured.
Yeah, the warden is safe again with taking down that headhunter, but it costs them a couple of seconds, and that can be especially important in such attacks, because warden charges, they take some time to really get the damage done, because we are relying on one of those wardens or one of those heroes, which is nerfed in this game mode, to deal all of the damage. Now we have king and queen on the back end, opening up the entire section with that king ability. Nicely done. But the queen right now is not really following the king.
Yeah, she's going off on her own over there. And that fire spitter's dealing out some damage. King's going to get it down to alleviate some of that pressure. She's going to go over and fight this enemy king, and that could be too much for her. She does have the Frosty on there, which will help slow down. A nice headhunter deployment. That warden's still working, but as you mentioned, with the heroes dealing less damage, the warden walk just takes a little bit longer. I mean, he's working, he's doing his job. It just takes so long. With 1 minute remaining, he's still got 38% of the space, 37% now. So he's still got a lot of work to do, but not a lot of time. He's out of rocket balloons. He's pretty much out of support with troops, but he does have plenty of spell support here to keep those heroes rocking and rolling.
Yeah, one of the archer queens is going for the wall in the core. The monolith has to go down. The warden, it would be optimal, I think, if the warden stays on its own, because that would be more damage output. But with the royal champion approaching that merged cannon, she's about to go down, and that means that this is not going to be enough power on the back end. It's close, but it's just not enough. And that is like some of those attacks from Synchronic. Close, but no 3 stars.
Yeah, it was definitely right there. I mean, if he had another, few seconds here, another 20 seconds or so, maybe could have got there. If he would have had his 10% damage back from the warden, he maybe could have got there, but that's why we play.
Like a lot of 3 stars in some crazy defenses, but Eltano is in, and he is going with the Root Riders again. He's having 1 furnace in the mix, and I'm looking forward to how he's utilizing that, most likely as some type of funneling. But the Royal Champion has to get the pathing set up in the beginning, and this is then how you're setting up a good attack.
Here we go. Nice little funnel, nice little pathing setup here. It's just going to make everything go right through that town hall, which is super safe. Realistically, they only need a 1-star here, so they don't even really need that 2nd star. But he did a great job of setting up the path to go right towards that town hall and then kind of branch out further into the base. I love when they use that spirit charge. Just a nice little utility to help everything out here. Does have that defensive furnace in there, but that troop launcher, man, I love that troop launcher, especially with the Root Riders. I feel like that new siege machine just pairs so well with this ground and pound style attack. Just getting those extra troops in there, the utility of the wall breakers, the tanking from the giants, it's so powerful as the overgrowth comes in now.
Yeah, the overgrowth, making sure that some of those heavy hitting defenses not having the chance of firing at those troops. The Minion Prince ability going not in the perfect direction, but still providing some tanking and some less damage income from the ability. But still, he has a lot of troops left. But with the core waking up again, this means 3 multi-front towers, a merged cannon, and way more defenses hiding right behind this.
Yeah, that's a heavy defensive back end of this base. But the big thing here is the war has been secured. Eltano came in and did his job got the star, got the second star. It doesn't matter if this one fizzles out to all those defense. I'm just looking at that. That's an intimidating presence, even in a normal war. Merge defenses in there left and right. Expos, Tesla Farm. That is very, very scary indeed. But El Tano handles the pressure, gets the job done, and ELEKTROS will move forward in our upper bracket, sending our world champions down to the lower bracket to play an elimination matchup just a little bit later on today.
Yeah, and with that, we have our consistency across the matches keep going, which means the winning team is keep having 12 stars, at least one star in all of the matches so far. So we have a couple of trends to watch if they're going to happen in the remaining matches, because this is just match number 3 out of 8 matches which we're going to witness today. So a lot of clash is going to be played today. So yeah, a great day for all of the Clash fans out there.
Yeah, you said it right there. We got tons of Clash action, elimination matchups. We're going to set up tomorrow to crown our golden ticket winner, our first of the season, and El Tano. Amazing teams like Dizzy Group, who came out and looked so powerful. Mark is going to be our final attacker, coming in with the rocket balloons and that Warden walk. He is going to set things up here. Oh, it looks like we already had a fireball. SYNCRONIC are known for kind of going with those early fireball attacks, and it looks like Mark did just that over there in that bottom compartment. It allows that Warden just to have a little bit less pressure, because remember, those defenses dealing 20% more damage makes it so much harder for the Warden to survive.
Yeah, and the Warden has 10% less hit points, and for a hero which already has little hit points, that is even more scary, this interaction. Just take a look at that, only versus 1 defense. This Warden is already suffering quite a bit, and that is, as we said, just 1 merge defense. It is really crazy to keep those heroes alive in such charges. It is not easy whatsoever. But with the early fireball, you can make sure that this is happening way better. There goes the rage to keep the Warden alive. At the same time, we have the Flame Flinger now taking care of the right side, which looks really solid.
Yeah, the Flame Flinger's got a really nice path to get some value. Get the Scatter Shot, can get the Fire Spitter there. Now the Warden's onto the Town Hall. He's setting things up. He's being really patient, and a lot of times with this attack, you can be patient. Remember, the big thing here is when he does deploy that King and Queen, you want them far enough away that they're not going to pull the Warden with them. You want the Warden essentially just walking and dealing damage the whole time. We've seen in the past where that could really cause a lot of issues for an attack like this, but it looks like the King and Queen are going to come from the top with that Golem being deployed. There goes the King up there. Let's see if the Queen follows him in, but so far, so good for Mark. Great invis to protect the Warden from that RC, but now he's going to chase her, pull up the clan cast. Oh no! Ooh, good invis.
Really great reaction time, but still, there is a lot of damage around that Warden with the rocket loons. The rage, can he save it? Can he save it? The defending Royal Champion? How did... Oh, that was impressive. Great timing on his side. Great spell usage. But he still has now the furnace against him. And that is why the Warden is going down.
Yeah, Warden went down. Those furnaces, man, and they could just be such a pain because you have to non-stop fight off those little fire spirits. They don't seem like a big threat, but one at a time, they just slow things up, and then that allows those defenses to get more shots in, and it's just such a hassle. Now you see the King having to fight through them. World Champions, and now he still does have 2 free spells. He's still got a chance here. That's the crazy part of this, but time is the big issue. Is there's only 3 seconds remaining, and that's one of the downsides of this Warden charge into Rocket Loons, is sometimes with that Warden dealing 10% less damage.
Sure that if there's healers coming close by, they're getting taken care of immediately. And since the Red Mines are doing splash damage, all of them would go down immediately as teams. And we have 3 out of the 4 upper bracket matches played, which are the first matches to be played in this competition. Yeah. 8 match total for the day, and the next one being Tribe Game.